coming into game number 2, do not try to fight fire with fire against SK Telecom.
Yeah.
I think that they need to round out their draft differently for Kingzone. Now, SKT going to be on the blue side. They don't have to ban the Lissandra, Zoe, and whatnot anymore.
Nope, and it's Kingzone's job to ban Lucian. Most likely Ezreal, but we've seen Deft punish Ezreals as well, theoretically. So Teddy's also more of a slow-moving Ezreal player, a phenomenal Ezreal player, absolutely up there with the best of the LCK. However, he does tend to play more slowly and just comes online as a hyper carry in the late game, positioning fantastically well, and gets through the laning phase, buying Iceborne Gauntlet, Ninja Tabi, things like that to weather the storm. Sylas going to be the first ban here, as SKT have, like you say, a lot more flexibility, and the Lucian going to be the answer.
Now, if you're SK Telecom, okay, they're banning away the Rise. So this could be signaling that they want a Lissandra pick, especially if you anticipate that Kingzone will ban away the Zoe, and now Kingzone probably going to ban away the Ezreal now as well.
They could, or they could leave it available and leave the Lissandra available as well, and either pick it away or pick it up, you know? Jace is also available, Vladimir is also available. As far as power picks for these teams, it's actually ridiculous. We could see third-round picks being first pickable champions as LeBlanc, the final ban on SKT's side, as it is Pawn's champion pool that they are digging their heels into.
Yeah. And now, if you're Kingzone, you ban Lissandra, you give away Ezreal, you ban away Ezreal, you give away
so you ban Jace, and then you guarantee that you get a couple of those picks.
You can get now Ezreal or Lissandra. And it looks like SK Telecom, they're willing to go up against Def's Ezreal.
They are. And if Lissandra gets locked in here, Kingzone get to do another thing where they just pick up the Tahm Kench, give it to Tucson, and have that Ezreal Tahm Kench lane to deny the Frozen Tomb ability onto the carries. That's what I would certainly do.
Get this out of the way already. Let's just see Ezreal. No, that's not Ezreal.
That's the first in the English alphabet. It's not the first in the Korean alphabet, as that is going to be Aatrox Kalista locked in immediately.
All right, so what I think that they're going to do is they're going to hand over the Ezreal Tahm Kench or the Ezreal Galio, potentially, to SKT, and then they think about maybe just going...
Thresh pick.
I mean, or SK Telecom, they could try to be like, okay, you want to play this game? We can go... Never mind, they're not going to do that. I was gonna say they could do DragonX. They could do Draven Thresh to try to steal away. They could try to pick a power pick down there in bottom lane, have priority mid, priority bot, and then pick a very aggressive jungler and play right centric while putting Khan on an island in a 1v1 matchup up in the top lane. But instead, they're looking to get the Thomas Kench, and coupling it with a Vladimir is very interesting. So, it seems like they do not want to fall victim to the Tahm Ezreal against the Kalista Thresh or Kalista Galio, and now that's really strange, as if SK Telecom's not willing to pick up Ezreal right here, I would have to actually assume that it's not what they're thinking about trying to get. So Kingzone allocating a ban to it, but I really don't think that it was on SKT's mind.
No, not necessarily, and this could mean that Teddy's playing the Vladimir as well. I mean, there's still a lot of flexibility available. SKT almost priced in to banning Galio Thresh at this particular mark as the Varus to be taken away. So there was an opportunity to ban the possible Draven pickup, but Deft feeling confident into that pick.
Let's see if Teddy actually wants to try to play Draven. I think that Thresh being banned here by SKT would make the most sense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, we saw this last time around, and as soon as you pick up Kalista and don't pick a support, then you generally get those two banned away. Braum is still there, and that is another option that does work, and also a good pick into the Tahm Kench.
I actually wouldn't mind if they just get their mid laner out of the way right now, and that's a very beautiful mid laner, mostly because it is still able to be potentially flexed to the support role.
True.
And so there is some deception that is still going on.
Teddy thinking about his 80 carry pick certainly has a lot of options available for this lane.
I don't think that you can actually go Kai'Sa. You already have 3 sources of very heavy magic damage on your team.
And speaking of heavy sources of physical damage, Sivir certainly fits that one, as this is the Kalista counter from the jungle that we've been talking about all season long, the Nocturne. remains available. But another one that can work, I guess, theoretically, is the Jarvan. Just knock her up, jump on top of her, and hope that you can get enough damage done before she hops away. And the Jarvan is locked in for Klid. Certainly a comfort pick for him. Had his Lee Sin available, but decided doesn't want to hop on that champion. Jarvan hoping to go toe-to-toe with this Kingzone lineup a little bit more effectively, and that's going to be the Alistar paired with the Kalista, another champion that does work well in this duo. And with Fate's Call available, Tucson is going to have all the agency in the world. And Deft is so used to playing this combo. Deft was... I'll tell you a bit of a story about Deft and Kalista. When Kalista first came out, he was in the LPL, and Deft tried it a few times. He was woeful. Absolutely terrible. One of the worst Kalista players that we had in the league at the time. And then he put the hours in and became the guy that you had to ban it against next to Uzi. There were two players in the LPL that you had to get rid of it against. It was Uzi and Deft. And Deft is still phenomenal on that champion. He was with Mako, who was the cow player. Then he was with Marta, the cow player. He plays with cows all the time. The Alistar and the Kalista are a very storied matchup for this man.
Alistar's a bull.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just say cow because I think it's the name of the species.
I love it.
So,
we're gonna
sorry,
take it.
Nick.
We're gonna,
do you need me to repeat everything I said? Did you miss it because you were just focusing on that? Or
No,
I can go back if you want.
We're gonna take a look at the team comps. Vladimir, Jarvan, Lissandra, Sivir, and Thomas Kench. A very extremely explosive engage coming out after Sivir casts on the Hun. Lissandra and Vladimir, Jarvan, they're all going in at once. And that's the type of thing that they're looking to do. But on the flip side, this team composition, Kalista, Alistar, Zillion, Aatrox, and then up there in the top lane is Yorick. This team composition operates very strong in a 1-3-1 scenario, very difficult to actually hold down the Zillion, but in a straight-up team fighting scenario, Zillion can provide a lot of CC and utility, and Kalista can be very hard to hold down.
And also, SKT have a very I want to blow up one person and move on type composition, and Chrono Shift really ruins that. We'll see whether it works in Game 2. Full house here at Lowell Park for game number 2, SKT versus Kingzone. This is a huge matchup. And remember, if Kingzone wanted to leapfrog SKT on the standings, they required a 2-0 victory. Now, they're playing for their chance to even things out, and SKT are playing for the chance to catch up to Sandbox and extend their lead, create some distance here in what is a very muddy top 5 that we have, not including the #1 spot because Griffin never loses.
Starting things off, I just want to point out the Summoner spell and rune choice there for the Zillion. He has the spellbook with the cleanse, but what this allows Faker to end up doing, utilize the teleport and the corrupting potion star. Interesting, there's no minion dematerializer, however, on the side for him this game.
Yeah, I wonder what he spec'd into outside of the resolve tree.
You know, you just said spec, and I just got good memories of Vanilla World of Warcraft. You know, and now I'm sad. Thank you.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah, that
No problem. So, Lissandra can play very aggressively in the lane, try to attack Pawn's mana pool, and that should be the way that Lissandra conducts this lane, is endlessly crashing the waves into the turret, making Pawn use his bombs to CS or have a very difficult time CSing just with auto attacks. Faker gets a fantastic ward.
Yeah,
Level 1, he's going to come in here. Yeah, sure, eat the bomb. You don't care about your HP. You have 3 corrupting potions. Cue the wave.
Okay, we are...
There we go. That was
Are you coaching Faker right now? Is that what you're doing? Are you seriously coaching Faker right now? Are you allowed to do that?
You know.
I don't know whether that's allowed.
I like what he's doing right here, actually. The minions are taking odd amounts of damage, which can make them a little bit more difficult to CS when underneath the turret.
Actually creates sort of a weird, almost close to deny mechanic if you're going against a Zillion. One way to play against it is there's Hep Up Pulse, and there's Devour. That's how this matchup is going to go. As Teddy uses his spell shield for no reason, so that is a cooldown that they will need to keep their eye on. Teddy not actually able to get any mana back for it, which is actually the big deal. Clid moving out onto the map, looking for a Rift Scuttler bottom side, and isn't going to have to deal with any wards that are down, as Faker, like you say, using his health bar as a resource, shoving this wave relentlessly, buys space, buys time, and buys opportunity for Clid to get whatever he wants here on this map on the Jarvan. Pawn hasn't been ganked yet, though, so that's great news. It ticked over to 3 minutes.
Ooh. Misses out on actually a Demolish proc, I guess not wanting to get hit by a QWQ from Zilean.
Yep, Clid now on the bottom side of the map. He's going to be able to grab the Gromp that was not eaten by Cuz. But unfortunately for Clid, he does have to kill it. That's just a full clear coming through minus the Gromp, because as he goes back home, we'll be able to augment what he's picked up with a couple of long swords, as you can see.
What this ends up meaning now at this point in time is that Lissandra is recalling. She has the teleport available, but Pawn is still extremely healthy, and he only has 2 minutes that he would need to sustain until the teleport would be able to come online via the spellbook, and so he elects to stay in the lane. Faker teleporting now.
Yep, and so pretty comfortable here is the Zilean. He's going to be able to revert back to the cleanse very comfortably also. As Tucson going to use his minion dematerializer to keep this wave pushing forward. Bottom side of the map, you can see Deft is actually having a great time as far as farm is concerned, but with this wave crashing forward, Teddy is going to keep things relatively even. So as far as disparities are concerned, last game it was bottom lane went out of control well for Kingzone. Mid lane got completely slaughtered by SKT, as did the top side of the map, and so things were decided very early on. This one, certainly a much more even game as we start things off. And as the game goes on, of course, you're looking at Vladimir and Siva. If this game hits 50 minutes, I don't know how anyone wins against those two champions. And we'll see whether Kingzone can take control of the mid game, which is where they want to get work done.
I think that we're going to have an extremely boring early game.
Oh, no.
That is the feeling that I'm getting right now.
Do you know what's really frustrating? Because we already gave the viewers the one thing that
Cuz hurt us. Cuz hurt us.
All right, looking to come on forward as Faker just claws his way out. We'll take bomb damage. There we go. Bit of damage there. No worries there at all. Wave will be tidied up very easily. As popcorn chicken's consumed for Cuz. So as you were saying, slow game, and I was exclaiming that I was upset that we gave away the fact that Rift Herald's full name is Shelley Rivers, because that was our spicy tidbit that we were holding on to.
in set 2. Can't lie to Twitch chat.
Yeah, you can't lie for too long, apparently. Well, it's not lie, it's just holding on to information.
Eventually they figure out, right?
Yeah.
One time I was sitting in the living room as a kid, and was asked what I wanted from the gas station. And I waited there forever.
Oh, no.
To get my soda, and it never came back.
What soda did you ask for?
I asked for Mountain Dew.
Right. Was Mountain Dew available in your state? Like perhaps
yes,
it was
Code
long.
Red. Are you a fan of Code Red?
I'm Australian. We didn't have it. Sorry.
All right.
Can't Hemo plagues the wave. Top side of the map.
Doesn't Australia still have Surge?
Nope.
No.
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know. I'm not much of a soda man, because, you know, I struggled with my weight as a kid, so soda was definitely the wrong move.
Wait a second. Hold on. What special sodas does Australia have? Because in Korea, all that you have is Pepsi, Sprite, and Coca-Cola.
Well, we got Coke, Pepsi, and then a random assortment of weird brand cola that's very cheap. That's generally what we have.
Is America the only country that has all the weird soda flavors?
Maybe. We struggle to get Dr. Pepper in Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
Oof.
So,
what about root beer?
Yeah, no, we don't get root beer.
What is wrong with us?
Well,
Actually,
we understand that soda is the main reason for obesity, so we move away from that problem as much as we can. That being said, that's a misguided stat for a lot of people that say that Americans are overweight. Australia per capita are more overweight, actually, as Clid flags and drags his way out of Cuz, and Pawn continues to try and speed himself up away from death as Rascal takes his enemy blue buff on the top side of the map with the lane priority he picked up.
Well, can you pay attention to what is happening right here? Oh, that just missed.
Nada got pulled back, and then a blue was stolen. As top side of the map, Faker loses half of his health bar, but I think things were going okay for him outside of that. He's focusing on where this blue was going. His vision is going to spot Tucson, who doesn't have Unbreakable Will just yet.
Let me slow things down for you.
You can slow things down. Yeah, I think
I'm
that's
not
what the
trying to make a
series is
zillion
moving
pun.
towards.
I'm not trying to make a zillion pun here, right? I'm not trying to freeze you. But what's going to happen here is that Clid will go back, eat his golems, his wraiths, and then the scuttle crab because the Aatrox will go to his red buff. We're going to continue to have a gentleman's agreement in every single lane, and you and I are going to talk about something that isn't the game.
All right, how much designated time do we have? Because I feel like this is good. We get a time window to let us know what's going on. As Tucson says, absolutely no to that one. Headbutt Pulp comes in. Grey Health is eaten. Fate's Call comes down as well. It follows the flash of Martyr as Teddy has absolutely no mana. Rend is expended, though, and Kingzone just going to get a lot of pressure, and Clid takes a dragon. Over to you, LS.
Well, see, you were getting excited. You thought something else was going to happen, but in the end, it was just a trade.
Hey, but we could have pretended. I mean, at least champions were hitting other champions. That's cool.
Is it?
I don't know. I guess I don't want violence or anything like that. Yeah, I knew where you were going. Is Faker not going to get stunned before he takes the claw out? He's going to be absolutely fine. Khan's getting pushed in, but he's having no trouble when it comes to turret plates or his own health bar or the CS margin. So the Yorick certainly not doing a Jace thing to him. As I actually didn't realize that's what happened with Blood Moon Zillion, where it eclipses and then the bomb goes off. It's actually a really cool looking little visual cue.
I never actually get to see interactions like this, because even when I'm wearing my glasses, my right eye is blind, basically. So, fine details in the game, I actually can't see. Like, I have to really look for it. You know what I mean?
All right, you have to focus,
I have to focus
heavily on it. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
So it's bad.
Lack of being bifocal. Thankfully, I mean, the screen is 2D, so therefore you don't have the bifocal factor of having that sort of extra vision is not an issue for you. So don't worry, things are fine. You're in the right line of work, my friend. It's Khan, the Maiden, not going to cause too much trouble there, as Rascal just wants to complete his Trinity Force and continue being a top laner. Good stuff.
Finally.
Clid's got a lot of Rift Scuttlers this game.
Is going down right now. How do you feel?
Oh, poor Scuttle Rivers.
And Shelly Rivers is being taken by Jarvan.
Yeah, just going to follow us under the grave by the looks of things, or at least into the back pocket of a Kingzone player, is Clid. Looking to try and lock down Deft here on the bottom side. Flash immediately used as he's trying to dart out, but it's going to be First Blood, and it's going to go over to Teddy. Tucson has the Unbreakable Will, but I don't know whether it's named correctly, as he lasts a long time, but it's still a double kill for the Sivir.
That was a fantastic execution by SKT down there in the bottom. They're going to be able to get so many plates as Yorick, Julia, Aatrox, and Zillion make their way to mid lane with Shelly Rivers.
Shelly Rivers and Julia together should be able to raise this mid tier 1 turret, though, and this theoretically could be a win for Kingzone. You can see up on the score screen, I mean, money-wise, it's certainly not working just yet, but after this First Blood turret comes in, and also all the map control they're going to gain, this does feel like a pretty good thing.
Yeah, this definitely isn't that bad for Kingzone. They even get a second charge on the Herald there into the mid-tier 2 turret. And one of the things I love talking about is how important the mid-tier 1 turret is when you have wave-clear mid laners like Azir, Victor, Lissandra, Orianna, etc. But first, we take a look at this replay and just watch it how they all juggle the aggro. Everyone actually took part in that trade.
We can't watch it because Teddy's flashing to try and murder a Callista. Tucson's able to get out, but Khan's underneath the turret trying to get some steak for dinner, and he should be able to do so very easily. That Crimson Rush did repugnant amounts of damage. And that's his turret going down.
When a Vladimir takes a bite out of an Alistar, is it an Edward Cullen? You never read the books. I'm done.
Yeah,
okay, you know what? That about sums up your response
I've been trying not to admit that I read Twilight for a long time, okay? So don't pose those questions.
Whatever happened to those actors? They just dropped off the face of the planet.
I don't know. He did a bit of work. He was also Cedric Diggory.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, and that happened before he was Edward Cullen. To me, he's always been Cedric Diggory.
All right.
As this is an attempt at saving the life of Deft from Tucson that went awry because there were too many members of SKT Tucson flashes to try and escape and still gets Hemo-plagued. He still gets murdered by the Hemomancer on the bottom side of the map, and this is where Kingzone are trying to get advantages elsewhere. But I actually really love this from SKT. They noted that Kingzone has solo lanes that aren't so great at winning the game. They've got a bottom lane that's exceptional at winning the game. So remove that from the equation, and then Kingzone has a big struggle to try and work out what their identity is.
Mazillion here in the game. I mean, he's keeping up for the most part in the CS department, even though Faker is all over the place on this map. And the Yorick as well keeping up in the CS department. But the real story is that the bottom lane for Kingzone is falling so far behind, and the whole point of Bazillion is to really amplify the Kalista and provide CC for her, don't allow the actual threats to get onto her, and if they do, revive her so that in the extended fight she can be super powerful. The Yorick will not come online until a little bit later on in the game, and so Kingzone are going to find themselves in a little bit of a pickle, but they can take some comfort in knowing that a Cloud Drake was the second one that was rolled.
That's true. So another double Cloud Drake coming in for SKT is another death for Deft underneath this turret. Hemoplague does come in, it doesn't kill, but Sanguine Pool is there and Khan not going to die today.
Jarvan even able to get an assist there.
Actually, I tell a lie. I mean, he might die today, but hasn't died yet in this series. That is a terrifying...
That is really weird.
What?
I thought Kallista's like a ghost.
Oh, is this... Wait, no, this is Korean client, Chinese client. Yeah, Chinese client has some weird, strange things when it comes to skeletons and stuff like that, so the game had to be slightly changed.
Okay.
But I didn't know that was what happened in the Korean client as well. There's Teddy, not going to get infernally chained this time around, and Tucson not going to be able to get the cannon creep either, so everyone's tilted. Also ruins that CS for Deft underneath the turret, who's desperately trying to escape this horrible time. 0-3-0 on the Kalista, not having a great time at all, and he's just desperate to find somewhere to farm.
Doesn't look like he is having the best of times right now. He ends up going down there to Khan inside of the side lane, and this game is looking extremely different from game number one, where this time the Kingzone bottom lane is in the grave, and it's going to be on the other teammates to try to pull them out of it. Infernal Drake will be the next dragon to spawn, and, you know, normally, I'm someone that is very negative towards Cloud Drakes and Open Drakes, but interestingly enough, for this team comp, having two of them really does help with the Sivir, Jarvan, and Vlad getting that engaged. Lissandra, it's more about positioning. You have to already just be in the right place.
And it doesn't speed up your claw,
right? It doesn't speed up your claw.
What you want to be using.
So, fortunately though, for the other members, it is quite massive.
Yeah. Well, you can see, Pawn able to give some experience over to Cuz. That's working nicely, and Deft, once again, is on his own, having to deal with a cavalcade of SKT members trying to close in. Feels like even underneath the turret is not safe as Hex Flash from Tucson as he makes his way forward. Actually, Nox cleared out, but Marta's there, and Cuz, he's investing into this one. The World Ender was used, but has to turn around. Abyssal Voyage towards the bottom side of the map. Marta continuing to move forward. Dark Procession is down. Marta is now inside the baby cage, but he's just going to eat the Yorick. The Maiden doing some work. Julia, can you save your dad? The answer is no, as Jarvan just puts him in the ground, and immediately Julia says, I'm following you, I love you. And she does.
I wonder how Julia felt watching Tom just put his mouth all over Yorick.
Oh, don't talk about it. Adding insult to injury. It's just, he's already dead. Stop it, he's already dead. No, we will have to see it again in the replay.
I am so looking forward to it, as we're seeing Tushin come over here, try to get a combo on World Ender cast by Cuz, but it's all going to be for naught. As immediately after this, the Abyssal Voyage was brought down into bottom lane. Rascal gets exhausted right away to reduce all of the damage, and then this is just, that's a Pikachu JPEG if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
When Yorick just got picked up while the Maiden was attacking Jarvan, she just looked to the left, and that's the JPEG.
Yeah, I know exactly the one you're talking about as well, and it's only made me more sad. You know what also makes me sad? 17.5-minute Rod of Ages. For Pawn, as he completes that one. looking for this game to go another 10 minutes is actually a pretty scary prospect right now because SKT are looking like a very different beast to what we've seen in their previous series. They dropped a game to Gen.G earlier on. They lost to Damwon Gaming. And then there was Jin Air and Gen.G again, which were victories, but not exactly ones that are going to convince us that this team is going to be able to challenge Griffin in a final or things like that. This SKT, though, is playing rings around Kingzone, and it's not because they're better mechanically, like what we talk about when we're praising what Sandbox is capable of, but this is just being smarter than them, and then also having the mechanics to back it up. And that's the kind of League of Legends you want to see. That's the exciting stuff from the LCK, because we want to see the best players in the world play on the best teams in the world, because coaching staff is what this region is known for. We're known for having smarter plays and better players, but that was proven wrong. 2018, they're wanting to try and come back, and this kind of SKT play is something that demonstrates that we still have it in us.
45 seconds until the Dragon. Faker going to be able to pick up the top tier 1 turret before that and rotating down. Interested to see if he'll try to push one more wave. If he can end up doing that and causing the crash into the turret, it'll cause the top lane to bounce back so that after post-Drake, one of the carries will be able to make their way up to the top tier 1 turret to collect on the ATM.
Yeah, all that sweet cash money that's just conga lining towards them. Faker safely gets out. Dragon going to be spawning, like you say, 20 seconds time. Cuz in position, they do manage to get some vision down as the ward is going to regain its eyesight.
Faker now getting the blue buff, it seems, before the Dragon. Now, because he has teleport, he might go back up to top lane and just keep trying to shove instead. And this is primarily because Zilean had gone up there, cleared out the wave, got it resetting. And that's a interesting teleport ward location there for Faker. Not sure if he'll end up taking that or...
One waiting all the way behind. This is the first time we've seen a 5v5. Yeah, teleport is going to come in from Faker. It's going to be cleared that locks down the Infernal Drake as Rascal is just obliterated in the backline. Deft has to flash so incredibly early. World Ender is in there, Khan continuing to keep himself alive, and Tucson, he's mincemeat, bottom side of the map. This time Deft doesn't fall first, but he has to watch everybody else die, and Clid's going to be able to get that flash knock up. Deft against the world. Feels like the identity of Kingzone. It's not enough against SKT.
Yeah, and that fight would just probably going to be the straw that broke the camel's back this game, as can't imagine a world where a 10,000 gold lead at 20 minutes with an Infernal Drake and a sport comp is somehow going to be able to mess this up.
Yeah, I have a feeling that SKT should be able to navigate this one to a win. The Zilean's on the top side of the map. He's trying to get some sort of farm. And that's not going to help you stack your Rod of Ages any faster. That thing is probably not going to come online this game if it continues on its current trajectory. It's just sad. We're not seeing the same Kingzone that had such incredible performances over the last 3 matches. This is the Kingzone that we know and love. The one that honestly has had only consistency issues as this season has gone on. We know what they're capable of, but it's just unable to work as we're looking at this.
Damage from Vladimir with the Hemoplague, just able to do so much to Rascal, and then right there, just chipping him right at the very end. Faker able to get on to Deft. Deft ulted way too early by Pawn with the Zilean ult, completely wasting it.
I didn't actually see where the Zilean ult went, as Pawn realizes that he just has to get the hell out of dodge. Not a lot of opportunities there as Faker tries to chase him down, unable to find him. He's pretty fast. But when everyone dies around you, still 100% bad news.
You know what, Atlas? I actually think that we have a relatively close game on our hands.
Oh, yeah.
And by that, I mean that the SK Telecom team champions are very close to Kingzone's.
That's true.
See?
And as a team gets further and further ahead...
Look at how close
yeah, this is about as
are.
close as an Alistair ever wants to be to a Sivir, unless he's winning. And Tucson's not. Has to use his ultimate. Really sad times. Cuz does find Clid, who's going to get himself out of there. Faker doesn't follow the claw. We've got a lot of bombs hanging around the area. It's Kingzone now desperate to hold on to their base. Baron is going to be the next thing on the menu for SKT, and I just don't know what this Kingzone composition is going to be able to do. Khan, once again, we'll see whether he can do the improbable against Rascal as he's still holding onto the pull. It is still there, remember. As the ultimate going to be used very, very early onto Rascal. Is it going to time out before anything else as Cuz comes on in? And that's Chrono Shift value completely irrelevant once again. And once again, a dead Deft. There is a lot of deja vu this game.
What just happened? Did he get one shot? Obviously I wanna see a replay of what just ended up happening to Deft there in the mid lane as Faker taking more damage from the top tier 2 turret than ever from a Kingzone member this game.
Hopefully we can put the turrets on the damage graph so we can at least get a decent number. As that's the base broken, no Baron required, and all 3 turrets going down at the same time. Cliff feels like a carry at this point in time. Cuz feels like free food walking around this map. You can see that health bar not looking too big at this point in time. No inhibitors are going to fall just yet, but SKT, they're in no rush.
Not too much for Kingzone to do at this point, as they have to just wait inside of their base and to keep farming endlessly. We take a look at this replay, and this is a pretty prime example of how far ahead Khan is of Rascal. Yorick not able to do anything to him in the isolated one-on-one. Pawn says, I'm helping with the Zillion, because just going to have to sit there on the sidelines and watch, as there was no way once the Abyssal Voyage and Teddy came into play. And let's take a look at what ended up happening to Deft here. Oh, wow. Oh.
It was E, Q, R, auto attack, dead. That's what happened.
Moment of silence.
Oh, wait, he may have pressed D.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he might have used his old Smite Arena.
Okay. Well, Faker.
Yeah, Fate's Call going to come in, and he's got a claw. It's going to be completely fine as Rascal just throws Julia into the opponent to die.
Oh, that's the closest thing to Thanos and Gamora I've ever seen.
I know, right? This is just not what you're looking for, as Clid gets knocked out of his EQ, but Faker says he's okay with it, dives right into the enemy team, still has his ultimate, still has his Zhonya's, still has so many options as he's keeping them busy. Marta even going to get the Devour off now as Deft is going to die off the back end. Teddy comes forward. AoE damage aplenty here for SKT. And Rascal has no hope. Pawn's running away on the top side. Cuz running away on the bottom side. He can't do it. It's going to be Teddy picking up that kill very easily. And now Rascal, where are we going? This is what happens when you throw Julia to the wolves. And SKT should be able to follow this up with a victory. 15-0. This is a slaughtering from SKT, to quote Tryndamere.
Yeah. This is going to be 2 inhibitors definitely going down. And then I expect that they just make it out down through the bottom.
They're going to stagger the backs by killing Pawn here as well, who's a Zillion with a spellbook that has now given him a ghost as he looks to clear out minion wave after minion wave. He certainly will have the opportunity to do so. He can run pretty fast, eat some honey fruit on his way through.
Really surprised to see that Teddy actually didn't elect to try to go on to him, but nonetheless, this is going to be a Cloud Drake being picked up.
Number 3.
Not all that... Well, here we go. We're going to take another quick look at this. Clid almost managed to get locked up entirely by Tushin, but then Faker and friends wanted to turn the tides on this as Faker comes over the wall, blocks up Cuz, and then Deft and Clid in the isolated one-on-one. Darvin told that Callista, you know, you like being impaled. Well, that was a pretty good skill shot right there.
Drop a flag on him. That'll do it. But honestly, this is SKT smacking Kingzone with their wallets.
They're just so far ahead.
Yeah, it's just ludicrous. You can see Khan gets so much health back with each of these transfusions. Extra movement speed, even flashes for no reason there as well. Just wants to throw out as many buttons as possible to show that he's doing something. And now Kingzone have to try and defend against this SKT force that looks completely unstoppable. Pawn darting around the side is going to be at least a little bit annoying with these bombs, but that's another Frozen Tomb to land on top of Cuz. Worldender will mitigate that damage, but now he's not offering anything for his team. Not going to go down. Tucson just trying to play in the front line, but there's no reason to do so because the back line is getting penetrated every single time. Deft has a bomb on top of his head, but Teddy flashes forward. It's a couple of crits, and then he goes down. Chrono Shift finally is going to get utilized, but look at that. It's one spell, 2 autos, and he's dead in seconds. SKT will obliterate Kingzone in this game. The Nexus does not last very long. 15,000 gold, the lead. GG'd SKT.
And that was, I think, the most decisive game we've seen in LCK in 2019.
There haven't been too many that have been that quick. I can actually quickly have a look at the stat for fastest game. Average game duration is 34 minutes, guys, and the shortest game was 21 minutes and 51 seconds. Damwon versus Hanwha Life Esports. So it's not quite at that level, but we're expecting a much closer series between Kingzone and SKT. Last time, remember, they were trading Ezreals, and it was whoever got Ezreal won the series. Yeah. And it was Teddy that got 2 of them. This time around, though, they broke them in Game 1 and destroyed them in Game 2.
Yeah, and it was a fantastic performance from SKT. And they're really looking like, as the split continues, they keep getting better.
Yeah, and that's what we want to see, and that's also what we're expecting, right? It's as these players learn to play together as a unit, learn each other's strengths and weaknesses, and are able to play around it, that's how we get to see what this organization and this squad are actually going to be capable of as this year moves forward. And you should be looking on if you're another team in the LCK in terror as this man comes online for SKT, because he is exactly the beneficiary of this team learning how to play around him. Because Khan is the one with a pretty unique playstyle. Khan is the one that Kingzone played around a lot of the time in their victories when they were looking like the dominant squad here in the LCK. And now he's had 4 games in a row where he's looked like a linchpin for his team.
Right. And that's the important thing to notice. And Mata on our screen here right now, doing an excellent job in game number 1, stopping the Elder.
Yep. Also one of our most experienced Tahm Kench players, having to save all of his KT friends last year on the Tahm Kench. It was Tahm Kench and Shen duty most of the time.
Who do you think gets the MVP?
Well, I was actually thinking about that, and it's hard to say. I feel like Clid certainly did a hell of a lot of work. The early game, the mastery of getting around all of the lane matchups and making sure that SKT were in a position to win was certainly on Clid's back, but once again, Khan demolished Rascal on the top side of the map and was able to turn around getting jumped on multiple times on the Vladimir. Might be back-to-back Khan MVPs. Certainly something that I wouldn't mind if I was looking on.
Yeah, I actually think that I would give it to Clid this game. I think that he did quite a lot getting some of these fights started, helping out with a lot of the kills that did end up taking place in this game, and I'm having a bad hair day.
It's sometimes you put on this headset and take it off too many times and things get a little bit confusing.
I
don't know whether it's a bad hair day. I just feel like you should go back.
This is a bad hair day.
Go back to the garage and keep practicing your guitar.
No,
and then it's the absolute perfect hair day.
You take this hair day, coupled with my 5-head, you mix it all together. Okay.
What do you get? I was just saying that you look like a punk rocker, and I was thinking that that was going to be a good way to mitigate all of your self-loathing over there on the left-hand side of the desk, but unfortunately not able to do so. SKT, though, fortunately, are able to come away with a 2-0 victory over Kingzone DragonX. Absolutely phenomenal performance by these guys, but I can't help but think on the Kingzone side of things, felt like Game 1 just meant that it was not necessarily a good look for Kingzone moving into Game number 2.
And game number 2, it just seemed like the bottom lane for Kingzone also fell apart, and Def started dying all the time. You know what it made me think of? It made me think of Ruler from earlier on in the day, where he was doing really well, but then stuff that didn't have to do with him went really poorly. The team ended up losing. Yeah. And then in game 3, Ruler just keeps dying over and over to various things, and that's sort of what happened early on here with Deft, and also at random points throughout the game.
Yeah, and after game number 1 where it was about Deft winning his lane and then being unable to win the game, this was about Deft getting targeted over and over again, and SKT finding that that is certainly an absolute key to victory. This was the misused chrono shift. Pawn feeling like a passenger this whole series, actually. It really feels like he either has a day or doesn't, and this wasn't for Pawn here.
Definitely
on the map
not
right now.
For one of the days. This was Clid and Faker taking it to the Kingzone team, and This was essentially a glorified 3v4 as Clid had enough of being impaled, wanted to do one himself for death.
Yeah, that was actually just beautiful line of play from Clid. Just made sure that the Callista was completely irrelevant. Of course, at this point in time, SKT had about 10,000 gold more than their opponent, and I don't even think that opponent had 10,000 gold at this stage. That's not true. They would have had about that much, but it was pretty close to being almost a non-issue, as Faker can freely ult an Aatrox, and it still is able to get them a victory.
At this point, yeah, the game was long gone. Kingzone tried to fight valiantly, but just was a little bit too late. Too many disadvantages accrued.
And look at the revenge that Teddy gets right here. Even autos the minion to get the Chrono Shift kill onto Deft with a Ricochet proc. That, if that's not flexing, I do not know what is.
Taking a look at the stats here.
Do you think Khan's going to get the MVP?
I really think it's Clid.
You reckon it's Clid?
I really do.
All right. I'd give it to Khan if it was me.
Of course you would. Because stat man, all right?
Yeah, I see the numbers. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's some juicy numbers. Give him the MVP. He also played very, very well, and I just like it when Khan plays well. Just makes me feel happy because when he came onto this roster, he did cop a lot of flack, and he's finally starting to prove himself on 4 different champions.
He's starting to turn around.
Yeah.
He's like Goku after a Sensu beam.
Hey, yeah.
I had to weave in a Dragon Ball. All right, I was missing it. I wanted to hit you with one earlier. Zyra Khan, Android 17 and 18 skins.
Oh, hell yeah. I was actually thinking that Khan is a little bit more like Vegeta, you know? He like comes from the dark side at the beginning of 2019. Oh, okay. Never mind.
They probably just have my live feed.
Yeah.
Being sent.
Well, they heard that you left the desk. And they were like, no, we need to keep him here just to save the broadcast. As this dive was actually expertly done by all of SKT.
This was one of the cleanest dives I've actually seen in competitive in a very long time. And you know, we actually had some really interesting and clean and well-calculated bottom dives today as well. Cuz had one down there in bottom.
Yep.
Utilizing the aftershock, and that was really nice to see because we don't get to see these type of things anymore.
No, not so much.
Not so much anymore.
네, SKT가 주말 경기를
exciting
기분
to see
좋게
this one, but we are also excited to see the MVP interviewers. Clid and Khan will be on here with me now, so let's throw it over to Ji-sun for some translation.
네, 정말 많은 기대를 모았던 경기였습니다. 이렇게 2대0으로 깔끔하게
So,
가져가셨는데요.
Khan, it was 2-0 victory. How do you feel about that?
이번에 되게
To start off,
앞선 경기들 경기력도 이제 괜찮아진다.
well, our performance was getting better and better, and today, I think we got rid of all the mistakes possible. So I think I'm quite satisfied.
선수는 오늘 정말 정글의
What about
정석을
you, Clid?
보여주셨습니다.
You were the answer of jungle.
잘했는데 아쉽게 MVP 못 받으셨고.
The last time you did also perform well, but you finally got the MVP today. How do you feel?
약간 오랜만에 받는 MVP라 약간 색다른.
It has been a while since I got the MVP, so it feels new.
것도 있지만 저희 팀원들도 잘하기
But
때문에.
I want to share all this credit with all the teammates.
네, SKT 요즘 정말 팀원들 모두 잘해주면서 골고루.
I agree that all the 5 players are doing so
자,
well.
1세트에서는
So moving on to game 1.
뱅카드를 4개를 바텀에 사용을
Telecom actually
하셨어요.
used
그리고
4 out of 5 ban cards
선수들이
to
모두
bot
잘하는
lane.
픽, 좋아하는
And
픽을
also all the
가져오셨는데
players in
자,
the top
1세트
side of
경기
top
끝나고
side of the
야,
map
이거는
got
1세트
the
해볼만
champions
하겠다,
that they
우리가
actually
가져오겠다, 이렇게
prefer.
생각하셨나요? 한 선수?
So what did the players say after the pick and ban?
저희가 좀 더 센 거 같기도
Basically,
했었고 일단
yeah, I think we got stronger picks.
저희 바텀
And also we had a lot of advantage in the skirmishes in the bot lane. So
게임 내용도 좀 괜찮게
I
나왔던
think
것
we had a lot of advantage before game and also in the side of game.
바텀보다는 상체 위주로 많이 풀어주시는 느낌이었어요.
Clid, you were playing
전략이 어땠나요?
around the top side of the map. What kind of strategy was that today?
풀 수도 있긴 했지만 11이라서 일단 판명해도 나쁠 건
Well,
없었던 것 같고.
because we had Sivir in the bot lane,
상체 픽을
I mean, we
더했을 때
could just
약간
let her
좀 더 잘
farm
나온
and
것
play
같아서
well
좀
in the late game,
좋았습니다.
and also
네.
I think we can
탑에서
snowball better
제이스는
if I
블라디
just play around
상대로
top lane. So that was
완전
why.
위를 정하고 가셨는데요. 특히 초반부터 2-3천 골드씩
Khan, you were
돌리기도
so much in the lead
했습니다.
that you had like
블라디 상대로 라인전
2 to
어떻게
3k
그렇게
gold
많이 차이를
bounty
벌릴
in
수
the early
있었던
phase of the
건가요?
game. How were you able to pull that off? Basically, well, I had the winning peak, but I also overperformed him.
네. 상성도 좋고 칸 선수의 제이스가 또 더욱 빛났습니다. 1세트는 특히 마지막
game one,
경기 마무리 장면이 정말
Especially the
인상적이었습니다.
way
저희
you guys
보면서 얘기
closed
나눠볼게요.
out the game was really impressive.
자, 이렇게 밑에서는 용쪽에서 전투를 하고 있는 사이에
So
집으로
two of the players
내달렸습니다.
were in
저
the
장면이
dragon
정말
pit, but the rest of the players were
이신과
actually
알리가
rushing the base.
귀환을 막고 있었고
And Listen and
끝내려
Lister
오셨습니다.
was stopping them from
오단이
recalling,
누가있나요?
and you guys were just taking down all the nexus.
같이 내린 것 같고.
So about the shot call, it was me, Cleed, and Mara, and also other players were
이렇게
following
충분히
up
나눠서
very
가도
well.
경기를 끝낼 수 있다고 생각을 하신 건가요?
네.
Was that all calculated?
네,
Yes, we
알겠습니다. 자,
did.
2세트 얘기해 보겠습니다. 2세트는 오히려 반대로
And game
바텀을
two.
많이
It was the other way around
데프트
because you were
선수가
playing a
자야를
lot
잡았을
around the
때,
bot
칼리스타를
lane.
잡았을 때 그 차이가 있었던 건가요?
Is that
아니면
different
SKT의
between
조합이
Zaya and
차이가
Kalista,
있었던
or
건가요?
the difference between SK
저희
Telecom's composition?
조합도 조합이고 그리고
Well,
약간
also, not
챔피언들을
only the
많이 봐야 되는 것
competition, but also we
같아가지고
have to take a look
그런 것
deep inside
네,
the
2세트
draft.
SKT의
So
조합이
maybe that was why.
바텀을 공략하기에 조금 더 낫다고 생각을 하셨던 건가요?
네네네.
네, 알겠습니다. 자, 클리스트의 칼리스타 솔로킬
And
1대1
you had
구도가
a
정말
solo kill on
많았는데 이게
Kalista.
잘 큰
There were a
자르반의
lot of
특권이라고 할
1v1
수도
with
있고요.
you and Def.
어느 순간부터는 클리드 선수가 데프트 선수를 맞는 게
Then-
고정사실화 되어 있었나요?
Actually, you had a couple of
그냥
solo
제
kills
눈에
happening.
띄어가지고 그냥 약간 혼내준 것 같아요.
I mean, he was just
네,
in my
특별히
vision,
노린
so
건
I just
아니고
want to
구도가
punish
그렇게
him.
많이
네.
네, 만들어졌다고 해주셨습니다. 자, 다음 경기가 현재
The
1위를
next
달리고 있는
opponent will be
그리핀과의
Griffin.
경기입니다. 마음의 부담도 심하실 것 같고
I can
하지만
say there will be a
SKT
lot of
요즘에 정말
pressure.
경기력이 좋기 때문에
But
충분히
SK
붙어볼만
Telecom,
하잖아요. 그죠, 칸
You guys
선수?
are also on an
네,
upswing,
네.
so we're
좀
expecting a
자신
lot,
있긴 해요.
right?
네, 야.
Yes, I'm quite confident,
그러면
says Khan.
그 자신 있는 마음으로 각오 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
지금
So right now,
2연승 중이긴 한데
we are on a
그리핀
2 games winning
같은
streak.
이기면은
But if we
되게
take down
연승하도
Griffin,
달릴 수 있을 것
I think we
같으니까
can keep
일단
this
남은
win streak
경기들
going,
되게
so
집중도 열심히 하고
we're gonna
연습도
concentrate a
열심히 해서
lot
좋은
and
경기력
practice a
보여줄
lot
수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
to show
감사합니다.
great performance to our
네,
fans.
칸 선수 계속해서 많은 응원 보내드리도록 하겠습니다. 클리드 선수는
네.
그리핀전 어떻게 임하실 계신가요?
Are you ready for the Griffin matchup?
감독님 인터뷰처럼 저희가 점점 나아지고
Just like
있는
the coach
것
Goma said
같고요.
in the interview,
그리고
we are
오늘
just getting
경기도
better and
보여줬기
better.
때문에
And I can
아마
say our
저희가 했던
performance
대로
today
해왔으면
was really good. So
나아지면서 이길
if
수
we just
있을까
keep
싶습니다.
our hard
네,
work going, I
알겠습니다.
think
자,
we can
SKT가 앞으로 더더욱
maybe pick up a victory on
승승장구했으면
that
좋겠습니다.
day.
오늘 인터뷰 감사드립니다.
So thank you very much for this interview, and I'm gonna
네,
pass back
MVP
to our
칸
casters.
선수,
Thank
클리드 선수
you.
만나봤습니다.
Thank you
중계선
very much,
연결할게요.
Jisun, and we're extraordinarily excited. Of course, Friday, put it in your calendars, everyone. SKT versus Griffin. Griffin's first match back and SKT's first match of the week. That will be happening Friday and will be one you will not want to miss, because can SKT do it? And if they play as cleanly as they did today, the answer might be a yes. So we'll see what Griffin has been cooking after their week off as well, because we know that Griffin left alone seems to only get stronger.
And we're taking another look at the standings. SK Telecom solidify themselves tied with Sandbox there in points.
Yeah, like they did at the beginning of the day yesterday. And then Sandbox were able to take down Jinair 2-0, and SKT follow them up there with their victory against Kingzone. So Kingzone separating themselves from Damwon, from SKT also. See what does happen next week, because SKT has the big test. Damwon against Sandbox will be happening on Thursday. That will be our first game back after our few days break. So that's going to be a huge one, as you can see on your screen right here. Sandbox versus Damwon Gaming, and then SKT versus Griffin on Friday. KT versus Gen G to follow, and Jinair versus Afrika on our first day. We'll see whether Jinair are going to be able to maybe find something against a flailing Afrika Freaks.
And another big matchup later on in the week, Sandbox versus Griffin.
We've actually got huge ones.
Yeah, these are
for like at least
very
one
big
matchup a day.
Griffin
Because
is walking the gauntlet next week.
Absolutely, and then Damwon versus Kingzone also has huge standings implications. Damwon could tie things up with Kingzone with a loss if that does happen. So some terrifying stuff, and also as you can see, because we've got these shorter weeks, Damwon and Kingzone only play once next week, and it's against each other.
The other thing that next week tells us is, does Griffin go on a 3-game winning streak or not, as Jinair plays before them? The balance has to be kept, Atlas.
I guess, I mean, Griffin has shown us that they can go on much bigger winning streaks than that, be it matches and games. So I have a feeling they should be able to do it. We'll see whether they can take down a powered-up SKT. We'll see you back next week.